My name is Jillian Parekh, but my friends call me Jill. I'm a lover of all things orange chocolate. Think One Tree Hill is way better than the OC. And as a person who stutters, I strive to empower women with invisible disabilities to go after their dreams, just like I did. I'm a mindset coach specializing in imposter syndrome, helping women overcome their inner imposter with my master's in psychology and my certification in neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, EFT tapping, and time techniques. And this is the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. This podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneurial woman trying to navigate the online space with a lot of passion and a lot of uncertainty. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. This podcast will take you from imposter to empowered with ninja-like brain hacks, easy to implement strategies, and uplifting real talk to make you feel like everything you want is in reach. Find me on Instagram at YourCoachJill to let me know how much you loved this episode once you're done listening. Time to kick that inner imposter to the curb. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. So today's episode is inspired by when I was launching the energy management bundle, which if you're interested in that, you can go to the link in my show notes and grab that. It's only $33, but I launched it because it was a new offer and I launched it at the end of September. And actually, as I'm recording this episode, I am still launching it. It's the weekend though. So I'm just relaxingly, is that a word? Relaxingly launching it, and it's going to be over tomorrow. But it is an offer that is always going to be $33, and I just technically launched it because it was a new product. Regardless, I was thinking about energy and thinking how important it was for us to be energetic and feel good because it helps us maintain our businesses, helps us move forward, and helps us with our motivation when it comes to our business. And the main reason why I created the energy management bundle is because I found that as I started working with more and more one-on-one clients I was on calls with and stuff like that, not necessarily just one-to-one people, but mostly those were really draining me. I was really taking on the energy of other people, and I didn't know a ton about energy management or protecting or preserving my energy when I first started out. And then when I started to go on more of a spiritual journey, I started realizing, there's things that you can do to maintain and preserve your energy. And that's where the Perfect Launch Vault came from. Then the energy management bundle was born because I was working with so many clients and I was realizing how drained I was and how that was affecting my emotional energy. Because the thing is when you're drained physically, it is going to translate into your emotional energy. And what that means is that you are going to be so tired emotionally that you're going to start having thoughts of, is this even working? Should I even do this? Am I good enough? And this raised the topic for this podcast episode because I talked about it with a couple of other people. And I was talking to them about, I think it was actually specifically some clients. I was talking about how important it is that we preserve and maintain our energy, especially when it comes to one-on-one clients, because I realized how impactful one-to-one clients can be on our self-esteem, on our worthiness, ultimately as a coach, or even if you're a VA or a Pinterest manager or whatever. Whenever you're working with somebody closely one-on-one, this is a very different energy than when you are doing a group program or when you are doing a passive offer. And let me tell you why. When you are working at a high level with somebody, so let's say usually when it comes to you building out your product suite, you're going to have lower offers. And usually the more high touch offers are one-to-one or a mastermind or something like that. And those people get the most of you. They get everything of you. They get your best strategies. They get your best tools. They get your time and they get you. They get the best of you. And this can foster a lot of imposter syndrome because if the person is not getting the results that they desire or that you desire for them, or if you feel inadequate and you don't feel good enough, or you feel like you're not helping solve their problems as quickly as you would like, if you don't have a handle on these mindset things that you need to work on for yourself, it is going to be really hard for you to continue with your business because you're going to be constantly questioning yourself. And this is why it's really important for you to be really boundary conscious when you are working with one-to-one clients. And that also means not taking on every single person that comes into your DMs and says, I want to work with you one-on-one. And you may be thinking, well, that hardly ever happens. So like, I'm just going to take what I can get. But what you'll realize is like when you start working with people one-to-one and you start getting people and you have this tug at your heart that's saying, this person may not be the best fit. I've already had to chase them down for payment or do this or do that. It is going to affect how you feel about yourself, even if the problem is primarily with the other person. So for example, I worked with a client who was in a group program, and this was last summer. And it was my first group program that I actually continued with, and that was actually legit. We all know the story about how I did a $25 group program, and it was really just me uploading trainings into a Facebook group, and there wasn't a ton of engagement, and I felt so crappy about myself afterwards. But that was because it was such a low investment that nobody gave a fuck. But anyways, later that year, I launched another group program that was about $1,300 a person. And for this one person, it was difficult to get them in the program, essentially. It was difficult to get her in the program. But I forced it because I was like, I need this person in this program. But she got in, and she had all these stories around money and everything. And she ended up having to leave the program because she simply was not paying me. And I made that all about me. I made it mean that my business wasn't good enough, that my program wasn't good enough, that she wasn't getting what she needed, or else she would be investing in me and she would think it was important. I made it mean so many different things, when really it was the result of her experience and the impact that she was having on me. And it really had nothing to do with me because there were other people in that program who were getting amazing results. But the thing is when you work with people so closely, not only are they draining your energy, but you're giving them the best of you. You're thinking to yourself, this person has all of me. I am doing my best. And if they're not getting results, then I must not be good enough. You're making it mean something about you. And that is why, again, it's so important to have boundaries around who you work with so closely. And that's why people charge so much to work with them at such a high touch point. I never understood this until I started really seeing the results and taking on more one-to-one clients in the beginning of this summer. So around like April-ish is when I started working with a bunch of them. So I had like 5 or 6 at a time, I think, like one-to-one clients that I was meeting with every single week. And I was so exhausted because I was mentally fighting myself, being like, am I doing a good job? Am I good enough? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? And if you're surprised to hear me talking about that because you're always like, wow, you always sound so confident and like you always have your shit together and blah, blah, blah. The reality is we always are just throwing spaghetti at the wall, doing our best and trying our best. And we still can have times where we don't feel good enough and don't feel worthy enough. And I know that when I started out with all those one-on-one clients, I really had to fight with myself mentally, and it was exhausting and draining for my energy because I was working with people so closely. And the mindset work is something that is difficult. It takes some time and it's not for everybody. And I am happy to say that each person, I've gotten something out of it, and it's been amazing, and I've gotten amazing testimonials. But there have been times where I've worked with people closely and they haven't gotten the results because they haven't put the work in, the investment was too low for them to be involved, etc. But then I made it mean something about me. But then I made it mean that I wasn't good enough and that my program wasn't good enough, or that I wasn't a good coach or what have you. And that is what weighs on me heavily, or used to weigh on me heavily. So the point of all this is that you do not have to feel alone or like there's something wrong with you if you feel this way, if you feel emotionally drained from working one-to-one with people. If you have told yourself, maybe I'm not cut out to be a coach, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. If you have said that to yourself, I want you to really take in this message that you are meant to be doing whatever you choose to do. You would not get an idea to do something or the pull to do something unless you were meant to do that. And even if it's not your life's path, it's still helping you move closer to where you're supposed to be. And that's what I see in all of my clients or experiences in which it wasn't the most ideal fit. I still think to myself, this taught me something, because I used to think, oh, maybe I just don't want to work with people one-on-one. And I actually feel a lot more fulfilled in group containers. I still have high touch coaching, but it's more expensive. And I am actually really boundary conscious of those relationships. I don't take on just anybody that wants to be a one-to-one client because we need to have the same energy. I need to really vibe with the person. I really need to get the sense that they're invested and that they want to make the changes, because if they don't, then that is going to be really taxing on me, and that is going to be really unfulfilling for the both of us, right? So again, the whole point of this episode is to help you realize that you are not alone in this feeling, that you may just be feeling emotionally drained, energetically drained, and you just need to get yourself back on track. Hint, hint, the energy management bundle is at the link in my show notes, and it's only $33. So if you want that, you can grab that. But even if you don't grab that, I want you to know that you're not alone, that you are meant to be doing what you're doing, especially if you're a coach. You wouldn't be led to a choice or an inspired thought or a decision to do a program or be a one-to-one coach if it wasn't meant for you. And even if it wasn't meant for you, you're going to learn something from it, and that's why you were led to that. And to be conscious that those imposter syndrome thoughts are not you, it's just probably you feeling drained emotionally and energetically, and to reset yourself and know that this means you just have to set healthy boundaries around one-to-one clients and people who come into your space, because you do have to be conscious of that, because it's going to impact you by way of energy. It's going to impact you by way of draining you emotionally, and then those negative thoughts are going to come in, and you're going to start thinking to yourself, well, I guess I must not be a good coach because I didn't get results for this person, when that's not true. Everybody is a unique situation, and you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. And I know if you're doing the work, if you have worked on yourself and you have the purest intentions, that people are going to get a result. And I know that for me, I really needed to hear this when I started one-to-one coaching, not realizing the impact that it would have on me, especially if someone were to tell me, you know what, working one-to-one is awesome, but you have to curb that mental drama that you're going to have each week if you are having those imposter syndrome thoughts. Because if you let those thoughts permeate and you just don't deal with them, and you just say, well, each week I'm going to feel anxious and nervous. I actually have an episode on feeling anxious before your coaching calls, because you're thinking, hey, I did the launch, I got the people, this is the fun part, but then you're still feeling anxious before calls. That's just your imposter syndrome coming through. That's your imposter syndrome being like, you're not going to be good enough. But that's not you. That's your imposter syndrome thoughts coming in and trying to bring you down, keep you small. And the same thing goes for feeling your energy being drained and your emotions being all over the place because you're working with one-to-one clients, and the thoughts that you're telling yourself are not true. You are meant to be here. You're meant to be a coach, and you have to work on maintaining and preserving your energy. And that means really healthy boundaries, getting yourself into an abundant and confident state before your calls, grounding yourself, protecting your energy, and almost debriefing with yourself after calls, talking to your coach, and really knowing that sometimes we create stories around somebody else's results and stuff, and we always make it mean something about us. But the reality is the results that people get, the stuff that goes on in their head and their life, is a direct result of them and not you. And if you are doing the work, if you're showing up for them, if you are getting feedback from them and doing your best, it's just a feeling. Stop trying to avoid a feeling. We all have a wide range of emotion as humans, and there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be ups and downs, but just know that you are never led to something that is not supposed to be yours. So I hope this episode offered you some peace and calmness around the fact that you may feel like kind of drained from working with one-to-one. You may be questioning, should I even be a coach if I don't like working one-to-one? There are so many different factors when it comes to this, but just know that you are fully supported and that you can do whatever the fuck you want in your business, and you can make a decision to not do one-on-one, or you can continue with it when you learn to preserve your energy and conquer those imposter syndrome thoughts. But you are always supported and you are always guided. So I hope you guys love this little pep talky episode, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Leave a review so I can continue to make amazing free content for you guys. And speaking of free content, you can go to the link in my show notes and download my free 30-day journaling prompt workbook to help you overcome your inner imposter and attract the abundance you deserve. And finally, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at YourCoachJill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.